What if jealousy didn't show up as anger, but as seemingly innocent questions? There's an uncomfortable truth most people miss. Jealous people rarely reveal their jealousy openly. Instead, they disguise it. They package it as curiosity, concern, or sometimes even praise. But behind certain questions is a hidden comparison. Behind certain smiles is a quiet insecurity. As philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once suggested, jealousy is often the shadow cast by wounded pride. In this video, we'll break down 5 questions jealous people almost always ask. Learning to recognize these signs isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's about strengthening your emotional intelligence, protecting your peace, and understanding the true intentions behind certain conversations. 1. You just got lucky, didn't you? At first glance, this question sounds harmless, but it's rarely as innocent as it appears. When someone credits your success to luck, they subtly reduce the value of your hard work. Got promoted? You were lucky to have the right boss. Built a successful business? The timing was perfect? Reached an important goal? Things simply worked out in your favor. Beneath the question is often an uncomfortable reality. They struggle to accept that your success may actually be deserved. Jealousy has a hard time acknowledging another person's discipline, talent, or persistence. It's easier to believe success happened by chance than to accept that someone earned it through effort and growth. From a psychological perspective, the jealous person is often trying to protect their ego. If your success can be explained away as luck, then they never have to confront the uncomfortable possibility that their own lack of progress might require change, effort, or self-reflection. It's an unconscious defense mechanism designed to avoid accountability. 2. Are you sure it's going to last? This is doubt disguised as concern. Instead of celebrating your happiness, the jealous person quietly anticipates your downfall. Started a great relationship? Are you sure it's going to last? Launched a new business? You know the market can change overnight? Made a major fitness transformation? Keeping that up long term is really hard. Jealousy tends to project failure. Deep down, it hopes your success is temporary. Why? Because your progress highlights their lack of movement. Your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. Nietzsche observed that people often suffer less from their own failures than from witnessing the success of others. Social comparison can become a silent source of misery. 3. How much do you make exactly? Money is one of the most emotionally charged topics in human relationships. When someone repeatedly pushes for exact numbers, the motivation is often deeper than simple curiosity. Jealousy loves measurable things, because measurable things can be compared. The real question isn't, how much do you earn? The real question is, am I above you or below you? Once they hear the answer, they often react in one of 2 ways. They either downplay it or quickly move on to another subject. Why? Because jealousy struggles with any hierarchy that doesn't place them on top. Personal growth teaches us that constant comparison damages self-worth. But for a jealous person, comparison becomes a habit they can't stop feeding. 4. Aren't you afraid of failing? On the surface, it sounds like thoughtful advice. But many times, it's simply someone projecting their own fears onto you. The jealous person often doubts themselves. They hesitate. They stay where it feels safe. So when they see someone taking risks, pursuing opportunities, and stepping into the unknown, it creates discomfort. Instead of confronting that discomfort, they transform it into a warning. "Aren't you afraid of failing?" What they may really mean is, "I would be too afraid to even try." This is where Nietzsche's philosophy becomes especially relevant. He believed growth requires self-transcendence, the courage to move beyond who you are and become who you could be. Jealousy often appears in the presence of people who are brave enough to take action. 5. Why you? This is the quietest question of all. In many cases, it's never spoken aloud. It exists only in the mind. Why him? Why her? Why not me? At its core, jealousy is rarely about your success. It's about their sense of unfairness. They look at your achievements, your opportunities, your happiness, and instead of asking what they can learn, they ask why life chose you instead of them. Jealousy compares outcomes without ever comparing sacrifices. It notices the result, but ignores the journey that made the result possible. What many people fail to see is that every visible success is built on years of invisible effort. The late nights, the setbacks, the doubts, the persistence nobody applauded. When you understand the psychology behind jealousy, something important becomes clear. Jealousy is not always rooted in cruelty. More often, it grows from insecurity. A person who is focused on their own goals, values, and growth rarely feels threatened by someone else's achievements. But an insecure person can experience another person's success as a personal loss. That is why these questions appear so often. They attempt to reduce the gap. They try to restore emotional balance. They protect a fragile sense of self-worth. Understanding this doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It simply means seeing beyond the surface and recognizing what is really happening. So how should you respond to jealous people? First, don't over-explain or constantly justify yourself. Second, don't minimize your achievements just to make others comfortable. Third, stay calm, grounded, and confident. Fourth, establish clear boundaries when necessary. And fifth, keep moving forward. The most effective response to jealousy is rarely confrontation. It's quiet confidence. The more secure you become in your own value, the less power these questions will have over you. Why is this topic so important today? Because we live in a world driven by constant comparison. Social media places everyone's victories on display. Promotions, relationships, vacations, businesses, lifestyles, achievements, everything is visible. As a result, modern jealousy has become stronger than ever. Understanding how jealousy works helps you strengthen your emotional intelligence, build healthier relationships, protect your mental energy, and continue growing without being distracted by other people's reactions. Remember this: jealous people almost never say, "I'm jealous." Instead, they ask questions. Questions that minimize. Questions that doubt. Questions that compare. But the next time someone repeatedly questions your success, your happiness, or your ambition, consider the possibility that it isn't random. Sometimes the jealousy of others is simply evidence of your own progress. As Nietzsche might have argued, your responsibility is not to make everyone else comfortable. Your responsibility is to become the fullest version of yourself, and that will always make some people uncomfortable, especially those who never found the courage to pursue their own path.